Welcome to Can Do Japanese by JapanesePod101.com.
皆さんこんにちは、Kano Kana です。Hi everyone, I'm Kano Kana. In this lesson, you learn how to talk about your hobbies in Japanese.
Want to know if your Japanese skills are improving and what your real learning level is? Get your language skills assessed with our free level assessment test. Just click the link in the description and sign up for a free lifetime account to get assessed.
This is Shin Ishikawa. He's talking with his neighbor, Haruto Sasaki, in the lobby. They're having a conversation, and Shin asks, "What's your hobby?"
趣味は何ですか?
Listen to the conversation and focus on the response. Ready?
趣味は何ですか?
趣味は釣りです。
Once more with the English translation.
趣味は何ですか?
What's your hobby?
趣味は釣りです。
My hobby is fishing.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how Shin Ishikawa asks, "What's your hobby?"
趣味は何ですか?
First is
趣味、
hobby.
趣味、趣味
Next is the particle,
は、
the topic marking particle.
は、は
It marks hobby as the topic of the sentence. Think of it like as for. In the expression, as for your hobby. Together it's
趣味は、
as for your hobby.
趣味は
Note, the your is understood through context, as the speaker is asking the listener a direct question. After this is
なん、
what.
な、ん、なん
Next is
です。
in this case, it's like the is in what is.
です。です。
And last is
か、
the question marking particle, which turns the sentence into a question.
か、か
Altogether,
趣味は何ですか?
literally means, as for your hobby, what is? But translates as, what's your hobby?
趣味は何ですか?
Let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how Haruto says, "My hobby is fishing"?
趣味は釣りです。
First is,
趣味は、
as for my hobby, in this context.
趣味は
Note the my is understood through context, as the speaker is answering a direct question. Next is
釣り、
fishing.
釣り、釣り
After this is,
です。
in this context, it's like is in English.
です。
Altogether,
趣味は釣りです。
this literally means, as for my hobby, fishing it is. But it translates as, my hobby is fishing.
趣味は釣りです。
The pattern is,
趣味はホビーです。
my hobby is hobby.
趣味はホビーです。
To use this pattern, simply replace the hobby placeholder with a hobby. Note, this pattern requires a noun. Imagine you like baseball.
野球、野球、野球
Say, my hobby is baseball. Ready?
趣味は野球です。
My hobby is baseball.
趣味は野球です。
When responding to a question or request about your hobby, you can omit the phrase,
趣味は
as for my hobby, because it's clear from context you're giving your hobby.
Hobby です。
It's hobby.
Hobby です。
This is a more natural response. You should be aware of this shortcut, but you'll practice the full pattern for this lesson. Let's look at some examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers.
趣味は釣りです。趣味は釣りです。
趣味は野球です。趣味は野球です。
趣味は旅行です。趣味は旅行です。
趣味は漫画です。趣味は漫画です。
料理が好きです。料理が好きです。
Did you notice how the last speaker uses a different pattern?
Wondering how you can master these conversations even faster? Here's how. 1. Read along. You get the lesson conversation and translations inside our dialogue tool, so that you see each word as you hear it and understand it all. 2. Practice speaking. By shadowing what you hear, you can also record and compare yourself with native speakers with our voice recording tools. And 3. Take our assessment tests and see how much you remember. These tools are part of our Can-Do course. Just click the link in the description to get them.
料理が好きです。
I like cooking. First is
料理、
cooking.
料理、料理
After this is
が、
the subject marking particle.
が、が、
It marks
料理、
cooking as the subject of the sentence. Next is
好き、
meaning like.
好き、好き、
Note
好き、
is an adjective deriving from the verb
すく、
to like.
すく、
When used as an adjective, think of it as something like nice or likable, as in cooking is nice, but translating as like. Last is
です。
in this case, it's like the is as in cooking is nice.
です。
Altogether,
料理が好きです。
this literally means cooking is nice, but it translates as I like cooking.
料理が好きです。
This pattern is
Hobby が好きです。
I like hobby.
Hobby が好きです。
You should be aware of this pattern, but you won't need it for this lesson. Let's review the new words.
野球、
Baseball,
野球、野球。旅行、
traveling,
旅行、旅行。漫画、
manga,
まんが、漫画。Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say fishing? 釣り 釣り and how to say hobby. 趣味 趣味 Do you remember the topic marking particle? は And do you remember how Haruto says, My hobby is fishing?
趣味は釣りです。
趣味は釣りです。Do you remember the question marking particle? か And how to say what? なん Do you remember how Shin asks, What's your hobby?
趣味は何ですか？
趣味は何ですか Do you remember how to say baseball? 野球 And how to say traveling? 旅行 Do you remember how to say 漫画漫画
Let's practice. Imagine you're Shin Ishikawa and you like baseball. Respond to the question. Ready?
趣味は何ですか？
趣味は野球です。
Listen again and repeat.
趣味は野球です。趣味は野球です。
Let's try another. Imagine you're Miss Nagaoka and you like traveling. Ready?
趣味は何ですか？趣味は旅行です。
Listen again and repeat.
趣味は旅行です。趣味は旅行です。
Let's try one more. Imagine you're Mr. Kobayashi and you like manga. Ready?
趣味は何ですか？
趣味は漫画です。
Listen again and repeat.
趣味は漫画です。趣味は漫画です。
This is the end of this lesson.
Now, here's what you can do to cement this conversation in your head. Review the conversation with our dialogue tool and lesson transcripts. Study the key words and phrases with our spaced repetition flashcards. Review the key grammar and cultural tips inside the lesson notes. And test yourself with our assessment tests. So click the link in the description right now and sign up for your free lifetime account to access our Can-Do course.
Now you know how to talk about your hobbies in Japanese. That's all there is to it. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.